was the last thing you did, so that's why I'm going here. I do apologize. I understand it. All right, so 1041. If your car ever despawns and you got someone arrested, they're always to travel back in a PD car, never a personal car. So you always to get that 1041. Find a green zone so that way you can camp out, and then tell them where you're located, so that way they can send that car to pick you up. Any questions? If you ever see a shootout in progress, you're going to throw that one, then followed by that location so other officers know where that is so they can respond to that. After that traffic stop has failed, if you can give them a direction of where you started at and which way you're headed so that way other officers can respond and help you pursue that suspect. Whenever you're en route to a shots fired, shootout in progress, officer down, any kind of call like that, you're always going to throw that en route so officers know you are headed that way. For whenever you die, if you can remember who shot you, what they're wearing, what kind of car they were in, toss that in lobby chat so other officers know who they're looking for when they get to that scene. Also, after that, you do have a 15-minute cooldown. You cannot go back to the area you died at. Also, if you see that suspect later on, you're not allowed to remember him. But if you see him and he has not committed a crime, you cannot go after him. Any questions? For whenever they need a supervisor or when your suspect requests a supervisor, always make sure that call is clear. If it is clear, go ahead and toss that location so the supervisor knows where he's needed. If not, always wait back till you get back to PDG and then request it there. Any questions? Whenever you give them a ticket, you're also going to issue that violation. Right now, as an unbadged, you can only see the administrations. So if you do need to add any criminal or civil charges, you will try to find a vested and up so that way they can apply that charge for you. Any questions? Always tell them to do /do and sign in the chat bar so that way they do know they received it because some still don't know how to do that. If they come back wanted, you will toss that so that way no sudden movement. So that way, if you need to, if they start running, you can add a charge for that 1.3.1 and that 3.2 for not listening. Any questions? I use these two a lot at HP. They're more or less a warning. I will also give them that verbal warning to go along with it. That way they can't say, well, I didn't see your macros. Well, I did walk up and tell you. This way, after, no offense, usually a good lethal about time, I'll tell them again. And if they do not reply to that one, then I will arrest them and charge them in. Any questions? Their rights. Always toss this macro in chat and read it to them so that way they cannot say you didn't read them their rights, and this way they do understand what their rights are. Any questions? This is the macro side of our deal. Now we're going to move on to the violations. Easiest way to find these, if you go to the badge beside your macro button, click the book, go up to the store at the top, click the book, rules and violations. Any questions? So 1.1, capture of a state institution. So any green zone, whether it be PD, military, or HP, or hands. Also, any portal to the dealership or premium dealership technically are green zones. So if they ever try to take any of those buildings, 1.2, taking by force. So if they ever try to black anything you're not willing to do, willing to where they get anything of monetary value or any kind of power to where they can, it lags sometimes. I do apologize. Just always warn me, and then that way I'll wait until it cools down, and I'll usually be good after that. All right, so can you hear me now? Okay. 1.2, taking power by force. So anytime they try to blackmail like the chief or anybody higher up to where they gain any kind of power or crates or money, anything of monetary value is taking power by force. Any questions? 1.3, taking hostages or kidnapped. No military, no medics, no PD member can take taken hostage. Only ones that can are any civilians or gang members. Any questions over that part? 1.4, fatal collision with the pedestrian. So anytime they use their car to run somebody over and kill them, you can issue that 1.4, even though they'll catch that auto charge of a 111 for killing that civilian or officer. Any questions over that one? Attempted theft 1.5. So anytime they use that slash try, say steals your hat, your keys, anything that you have on you or your car, you can get them for that attempted theft. Whether it is successful or failure, that is attempted theft. 1.6, bribe or robbing of a police officer. So again, that slash try, if they get whether it's success or failure, anything off of your police car, anything off of a police officer is robbery of a police officer. Any questions? They can step in. I usually just give them that warning to step out. Unless they do that slash try while they're in there to take anything, then you can get them for that robbery. But other than that, just give them that warning. If they do not comply within a reasonable amount of time, then you can take them to jail for disobeying a police officer order. 1.7, uncoordinated entry onto a territory by state law. So again, any green zone, whether they come in with their guns out or no guns out, if they do not leave in a reasonable amount of time, you can't arrest them for that. 1.8, collision with pedestrians. So again, if they use their vehicle to run somebody over, whether it be a cop or another civilian, you can charge them with that 1.8. 1.9, discharge of a weapon in public area, also having their gun out for our admins. So you can arrest them for that. Usually check for a gun license. If they do not have a license, you cannot do them with that 3.6. 1.10, bribery of a police officer. So anytime they offer you cash to release them from cuffs or let them out of jail, you can issue that 110 on them. Okay, sorry. 111, 112. These are going to be auto charges by the state. So anytime they commit these in a white zone, sometimes a green zone, they cannot kill in a green zone. So the 111 is the only one. All right, I do apologize. Hold on. So the 111 is the murder of a civilian or officer. So anytime they do this outside of a white zone, they will get the charge by state. If they are in a red zone, you will have to witnesses have body cam of it, and you can apply that charge yourself. Any questions? The 112, hitting an officer. So technically, they can do this with their car or their fist. Anytime they do it in a white zone, they will be charged. Also, in a green zone, they will be charged automatically by the state. In a red zone, you will have to have body cam of this, and then you can apply that charge yourself. Any questions? Because no offense, it happens a lot when they VDM us. They get that auto charge by the state, and then they'll go, "Why did I get that charge?" Well, you hit me, and it's an auto charge. I don't throw that one. That's on you. That is what we usually get for state charges. Also, if they have been ticketed by an officer later on in that day, and you get them, they could have a state charge for that. Any questions? All right, so those all carry a 20-minute timer in jail. They all start with a 1 point something. Now we're going to move on to civil. They all start with a 2 something, and they carry a 10-minute time in jail. 2.1, damage or harm to state property. So again, your police car, any green zone building is state property. So whether they shoot it, spray paint it, hit it with their fist, or hit it with their car, that is damage to state property. Any questions? 2.2 is the exact opposite, damage or harm to civilian property. So, again, whether it's their car or their home, if they use their fist, car, gun, or spray paint it, they can get that 2.2. 2.3, false calls to emergency services. This pops up yellow in chat as a 911. We are to investigate these. If it is a false call, we can charge for that 2.3 later when we see them. Any questions? All right, this next one's going to be a little lengthy. I do apologize. 2.4, debauchery. Whether it's turning on music after being asked to turn it off, if they ever spit in your face, anything drugs or alcohol related is debauchery. Anything sexual in nature is debauchery. Anything they gain pleasure from would be debauchery. Also, if they ever hold the mic on you and won't let you talk, that is also debauchery. Any questions? That's where these come in handy. You do get one per traffic stop. If it is successful, you can charge for that 2.4. Any questions? That is the slash tries. That's where they come in handy for the 2.4. So if you ever do a search for drugs or alcohol, and if it comes up successfully, you can charge for that 2.4. You do get one per traffic stop. All right, 2.5, murder threat slash murder. So again, if they get that auto charge of a 111, you see them kill somebody, you can issue that 2.5. Also, if they threaten to kill you, you can issue that 2.5. Any questions? All right, 2.6, insulting a state employee. This is the one charge we are allowed to stack for every time they do it. But if they talk about the faction as a whole, that is not an insult. But if they single you out and call you a bitch, slut, faggot, anything like that, I do apologize for the language. That is insults. Any questions? You can stack it for every time they do it. 2.7, extortion. Again, this one kind of relates to that taking power by force, but it also comes back to bribery or blackmail. If they ever get you to do something against your will, that is extorting. Any questions? All right, so now we're going to move on to the admin charges. They all start with a 3 something. They all carry a 5-minute timer in jail. 3.1, resisting arrest. So if you ever tell them to stay still, they have warrants for their deal and they start moving, you they do have they so 3.1 is resisting arrest. So if you give them that warrants macro and they start moving, you could charge them with one because they think. Sorry, somebody's messaging me. 3.1 is resisting arrest. So anytime they try to evade you after you give them that lawful order, that is resisting arrest. So you can charge that 3.1. 3.2, disobeying a police officer order. So anytime you give them an order, whether or leave this area, if they do not come up out of time, can issue. You can issue that violation of a 3.2. Any questions?
No, sir.
3.3, aiding in the resisting arrest. So if I was trying to arrest you and somebody else got in the way, I could charge them with that 3.3 because they're trying to aid in resisting arrest of you.
Yeah, I know some of them do.
3.4, anything violation of traffic laws. So again, parking in the grass, speeding, running red lights, not maintaining their lane, hitting poles, anything of that nature would be a traffic violation. That violation of 3.4. 3.5, assault on a civilian. So again, whether they hit him with their fist or a car that is assaulting a civilian, you can issue that 3.5, and it also will tie over to that 1.8. Any questions?
No, sir.
3.6, failure to present requested, which is driver's license, vehicle specs, gun license, passport, if you ever have. 3.6, refusal to present requested documents. You're good. Such as driver's license, vehicle specs, gun license, also their passport. Requested it, they refuse it. That is 3.6. Any questions? Alright, if you want to end that video, bud, you